Hi, everyone. We have Iva Gamnishka with us today. She is the founder and president of Humans in the Loop, a purpose-driven startup based in Bulgaria, I think. Is that correct?
Yep.
Based in Bulgaria. Welcome, Iva, and thank you so much for joining us. Iva, give me a brief intro about yourself first, please.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for hosting me and for having me here. About myself, I'm originally from Bulgaria. This is why the company was also established there and is still based there. I'm currently living in the Czech Republic with my family. And I've spent some time in the US and in Spain before founding Humans in the Loop. The organization was founded in 2017, and it's been already quite some time. It's kind of my first baby, which is now, a child big enough to go to school. So the most recent development with my engagement there is that I have stepped down from my role as a CEO of the organization, and I'm now president of the board, and I've left my team to manage the organization. So that has been quite interesting. I can share more. But I'm currently more involved in political advocacy and also providing consultancy services. So kind of taking, work and everything a little bit more slowly than the previous 7 years, which were all like hustle and very, very hard work. And right now I'm trying to refocus and reprioritize some of my engagements to really, prioritize things that I care about and causes that I care about.
Thank you so much. First of all, congratulations on the evolution of your role. Not many people will take that step, maybe thinking, I always need to hustle. I always need to, in order to be successful, I have to, not have a life. I have to be always tired. But really, congratulations on growing the company to the part where, you trust your team to grow it with you and, by your probably supervision at a broader level maybe, but having the ability to focus on other things and other priorities in your life, so congratulations on that. And also I was looking at just to first of all talk about your role and talk about your role in Humans in the Loop, and then talk about the evolution of what you are doing at the moment. So what made you start Humans in the Loop? Now, I looked at your LinkedIn profile and I noticed that you have a human rights degree from Columbia, but then you started working with upskilling refugees in AI. So can you share a little bit what made you start the company?
Sure, yeah. So the organization was started kind of in the midst of the refugee crisis back in 2013, 15, 17. And my goal was to help to integrate refugees in the labor market and to provide them with access to jobs. Essentially, a lot of people were coming into, specifically, in the case of my home country, Bulgaria. I was in the US at that time. So I was kind of witnessing everything from afar. And I really wanted to, as soon as I graduate, to go back and to contribute to how the situation was managed, because it was completely mismanaged by the Bulgarian government. So there was a need for new initiatives and ways in which we could help refugees access jobs, which is usually the first priority, especially when there is a lack of other, let's say, integration aid or subsidies or and social security payments that they can count on. So that was the context in which I set it up. And the way in which we ended up in the tech field is just because this was the only way to provide jobs to people. I didn't have any background in AI and technology. I had taken one Python class in university and I really didn't enjoy it that much. So I was like, okay, coding is not for everyone, but maybe what are some easy entry-level tech jobs that we could still provide to people so that they can work on their laptop, they can be independent. Maybe if they're on the move, if they're going to another country, or if they decide to go back to their home country, they can still be connected and earn money. So that was the idea. And we ended up being in the AI field just because we found out that there is this niche that involves data labeling and data preparation for AI. And very frequently, especially when it comes to computer vision, this means tagging images and marking objects on them, which is very easy,
Mm.
very accessible as a first entry-level job. So that's why we ended up in this field. But definitely, my background was in a completely different direction. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And what would you say is the business model of humans in the loop? So you are charging companies for outsourcing the services of refugees. How do you do that?
Exactly, yeah. So we work as a B2B service company. So essentially, yes, what it's called impact sourcing. So an outsourcing company, but with a social mission. So a company comes to us and they say, hey, we have this data set of, let's say, 10,000 images that need to be labeled. Can you do that for us?
Mm.
So we get in touch with our teams of refugees in different countries where we work. These include not only Bulgaria, but also Turkey, Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, Afghanistan. Now we're doing some pilots in other countries as well, for example, in Kenya, in
Mm.
Uganda. So we're getting in touch with our local partners and we say, hey, we have this project. Would you like to perform it? So we work in this very collaborative way with organizations on the ground that are directly working with people who are not only refugees, but we categorize them as conflict affected people. So people who live in
Yes.
areas of conflict, who
Mm.
may have been affected by armed conflict and violence. So this is how we work, and afterwards the company pays us. We pay the local organization that then transfers the money to the people, and
Mm.
this is because usually a lot of them are unbanked or do not have access to, ways for international payment. So this is the way in which we have found the best manner to remunerate people as well.
So if they are unbanked, how are they remunerated? Is it through
Yeah, so
cash
usually
or
through the local
through
organization,
the
and the
local
local
organization?
organization would be in cash or
Okay.
via a local account. Yeah.
Okay. And did you find it challenging to, as a B2B service company, did you find it challenging to reach out to companies and say, or did you find the need first within companies? How did you validate that within your clients?
Yeah, so back when we started, it was actually a very small niche, but there weren't too many competitors. So it was quite easy to reach out to companies and say, hey, we offer this service. And it would be like, wow, this is such a
Mm.
niche thing. How did you even know that this exists and this is a need?
Mm.
But since then, the industry has actually grown a lot and there is a lot of competition on the market. So I would say this is what makes it difficult to reach out to companies because they're always you know, uh, they always receive so many messages, of people trying
Yeah.
to sell them the same type of service. So this is why, in recent years, it has been more and more difficult to reach out to companies.
All right. So how do you overcome that? How do you get more companies to outsource, your services? This is your main business model, right?
Yeah, exactly. So our approach is mostly through personal relationship building and networking. So really,
Mm.
investing a lot in our personal brands. So myself, but also my team, being vocal on social media, promoting what we do, establishing a contact with clients and then gaining their trust. So it's more of like a long-term, game rather than cold calling them and getting them to sign a
Yeah.
one-time contract. So yeah, really it's a matter of investing in quality, building all of these long-term relationships.
Okay, this is a great tip for all the startups that want to listen to this as well and want to really approach companies because this is what we face as a challenge when we are working on purpose-driven either initiatives or startups is really how do you monetize, and I think a lot of people struggle with that. And I think it's experimenting maybe with different business models until you find the right one. Thank you so much, Eva. Um, so, how did the pandemic impact your business? So, I know that you started 2017, then 2020, we went through a pandemic, and there is still a refugee crisis at the time. Did that accelerate your growth? Did that help, or was it the same?
I would say it was the same, more or
Mm.
less. We weren't that affected just because we were already working remotely. We were promoting remote work
Yeah,
right? As
that's
a
the thing. Yeah.
main way of working.
Yeah.
So we actually were not affected in our operations and our day-to-day work. If anything, it accelerated our programs for remote learning, for digital skills, and so on. We did find that, some clients were affected in their businesses because of the lack of funding, the higher interest rates, more recently. So, we have had issues with just the lack of clients who are able to pay for such services and who are interested in such services. But I would say this has also led to a contraction in our market and our sector in recent years and a consolidation. So there have been some companies that have disappeared or have closed their doors. And of course, clients that were working with them have ended up working with us. So it's kind of, a good thing in a way that the market is becoming smaller just because, fewer players remain on the market that are able to get the bigger market share.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking because remote work became a thing, right? And it was like it was really accelerated that demand for people to work from anywhere. Now, what about the evolution of your role? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, everything started actually with me going on maternity leave, which was a year ago. And this is when my chief operations officer took the role of an interim CEO. And she had been my right arm since the very start. She was employee number one. So I had complete confidence in her managing the team. And then once my maternity leave got near its end, which is kind of now, I actually decided that she, has completely proven herself to be very reliable and to be able to manage the organization, to lead it. The team seems happy. So I've decided that it's actually better for the organization for me to step down and to let them thrive under new, more motivated leadership, which brings, new energy, new ideas. And I think that the whole team, of course, they miss me as the founder and the person who's been there for
Yeah.
a long time, but I still haven't disappeared. I'm still there. I still check in with the team. I'm giving some ideas and working on some strategic initiatives with them.
Mm.
So I'm still in a supporting role, but not as the primary role in the organization. And it leaves me a bit more free to pursue other priorities, as I mentioned.
Do you want to share what else are you working on? Because I saw something interesting on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So, something that, of course, over the past 12 months, we've all been witnessing what's happening in Palestine, what's happening in Gaza, now in Lebanon. So that has been on my mind for the whole year, of course, as so many other people.
Yeah.
Actually, in my last month of pregnancy, I started going to protest. Then once the baby was born, I was still again, going out
Yeah.
with the baby, in a
Yeah.
backpack. We were still going
Yeah.
out. And I've been kind of, trying to raise awareness through my own personal posts, trying to reshare, trying to spread the news of what's happening. And I was wondering, can we do something as humans in the loop for the current situation? We did try to create a small team of Palestinian refugees in Egypt, which is kind of, not where we wanted to be. But still, it's
Yes.
something that addresses some of the symptoms of the current crisis, but nothing of the root causes. And through the job creation, you can contribute to creating more, labor market opportunities and to establish, a better economy, but you cannot solve the root causes of the issue, right? So that was something that was bugging me for a long time, and I decided that it's time for me to start working more on an advocacy level in terms of like political activism, changing their narrative around Palestine. So it's a very big task, right? It's a big challenge. You cannot do it on
Yeah.
your own or with a small team. It requires a massive push towards this in order to change the media narrative and to influence politicians to talk about this. But I'm kind of motivated to start working on this. Of course, it's purely on a volunteer basis. So currently, I'm also providing consultancy services, which provides me with enough income so that I can dedicate myself to this, which is completely unpaid. So I'm very, very excited about it. I think it is quite promising, and now is the moment to start working on it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting more people involved.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your humanity, really. we'd love to see more people, advocating for humanity, no matter where you come from. Really, it's been a challenging time for everyone, I think, all over the world. And as you said, like even with helping with as simple as, providing some kind of financial income for the refugees, that helps with their well-being as well, So I don't think it's small. I think it's actually, whatever we can do in order to help people to overcome the challenges they're in, because, some kind of financial security will bring well-being to people. So
Of course,
really, thank
yeah.
you. Thank you for your humanity. Thank you so much. And I think with that, I think we took enough of your time as well. I know time is a limit as well for you. Thank you so much, Eva. It was really, really a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, Sahar, for the conversation.
And yeah, let's meet up whenever, if you ever decide to come to Bahrain. Would love to catch up with you. Take care.
That would be amazing.